Hello and welcome here to Singapore for the day 2 of Singapore's Video Game Championships Regional Championships. I am Matthew Hui.
And I am Justin, and we'll be taking you through the top card matches from the top card from yesterday's Swiss rounds.
Right, so the top 8 players from yesterday's Swiss round will be playing and bidding to be the second regional champion of this season. And first up, we will be bringing you a match between Yoko Taguma, a veteran player, and Chelsea Tan, this is only her first year in the Masters division after competing in Worlds and making it to day 2 last year in the senior division.
I think this is, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the first time that Chelsea has made it to a top card in the Masters division.
Yes, well, Chelsea hasn't really played that many tournaments in Masters, to be honest. So this is really her first big tournament, and she's done really well. She's acquitted herself brilliantly.
And Yoko, not to sell her short as well, but she has been quite successful in a number of tournaments, top cutting and placing first and second a few times, if I recall correctly.
Right, she's very consistently made it to the top card regionals. This year especially, she's made it. Well, she didn't cut the first regionals, she did cut the mid-season showdown, and here she is in the top 8 of the regional championships as well.
So it'll be interesting to see if Chelsea, with her relatively new experience to the pressure of the top cut, whether she'll be able to take on Yoko and advance to the semi-finals.
Let's not sell Chelsea short though. Chelsea did finish second last year in national championships, so Chelsea is no stranger to pressure. Although I would say that the pressure did get to her in that particular final match, when she led rather questionably into the final, but well, she's learned from that. She's here today. She's up against Yoko in an all-female top 8 match. So that will be interesting to see what both players have in store for us.
And actually, Chelsea's team is backing the dual primal that is pretty popular now and widespread, whereas Yoko is running a Ryoga team, which was quite popular for a while, but I think didn't kind of fell off.
I think players kind of realize that Ryoga is not the kind of team you can really optimize. It's the kind of team you have your Kyogre, you have a Rayquaza, and you kind of slot supporters around them to aid your attempt to sweep with Ryoga. Whereas Dual Primal is something that players can really work on. You optimize your leads, you optimize your game plan. It's something that, especially in Europe, where Dual Primal has really taken on a life of its own. It's almost become the new Big Six, as some would call it. And it's somewhat more optimizable than something like Ryoga, which is why players have kind of gravitated to it as the season has progressed.
And interestingly, both of their teams have a lack of Xerneas, so not much sure win conditions or something that the players really have to watch out for in terms of setting up.
Well, as far as win condition goes, Yoko does have the win condition known as I switch in Rayquaza and I water spot your Groudon, also known as the bread and butter play of the Ryoga team. It is something Chelsea will have to watch out for. Some players have told me, some dual primal players have told me that because of the threat of this particular play, of the water spout in airlock, they kind of gravitate towards not bringing their Groudon to the matchup entirely. It really hurts their offensive firepower. So it's something Chelsea will have to think about.
So they rely more on the Kyogre for the Ryoga matchup, is that correct?
Yeah, that's what some players have told me. Well, some players disagree, but well, we want to see what Chelsea has in store.
And also, both of these teams are actually using different megas. Chelsea is opting to either bring in the Kangaskhan or the Salamence, whereas Yoko only has Mawile as an option.
Rayquaza. She has her Rayquaza.
That is correct, yes. I almost forgot that Rayquaza, Fervent Wish almost counts as a Mega Evolution as well.
So Yoko has usually preferred bring the Mawile as a Mega and keep a Rayquaza in its non-Mega form, because Airlock, as said previously, is really good with Kyogre when up against an opposing Groudon. Alright, moving into team review proper. Both players are ready and we are about to go. Chelsea's team, as pointed out earlier, is the Salamence, Kangaskhan, Thundurus, Smeargle, Kyogre and Groudon.
And Yoko backing the Ryoga team of Rayquaza, Kyogre, Amoonguss, Mawile, Zapdos and Crobat.
So definitely more speed control options, one would say, on Yoko's side of the field. The Zapdos in particular, we don't know whether it has Tailwind, might have Thunder Wave. Crobat certainly has Tailwind.
Definitely, yes. But Chelsea's side has the dreaded Smeargle, which I believe can shut down almost all, barring a Crobat Taunt, of course.
Crobat has Taunt, and one suspects that there's a Lump Berry either on the Crobat or the Zapdos as well.
So definitely Yoko seems to have prepared for the Smeargle matchup. So is that something that Chelsea wants to consider, whether she wants to bring Smeargle in the first match?
I suppose it's an option, definitely. But in game 1, you really want to feel your opponent out. Well, there always exists the possibility that both players know more than they're letting on, because this is day 2. They've had last day, their friends may have played their opponent in Swiss and would have briefed them on kind of the tricks that they have in store. So Chelsea will lead with Thundurus and Salamence.
On Yoko's side, we have Zapdos and Crobat.
So definitely a more support-oriented lead from Yoko's side of the field.
Definitely. Chelsea does have to watch out for the Thunder Wave onto the Mance. That would really slow her tempo down. And Crobat setting up the Tailwind. Actually, Thunderous does have the Prankster Taunt if he carries the Taunt. So, but do Crobat nowadays carry Quick Guard?
Crobat, the Quick Guard's kind of usually the first move that Crobat drops in favor of other support options such as Haze. And I believe Yoko does favor Haze.
So there's no option to stop the Taunt coming out from Thunderous if he chooses.
And even if Crobat did have Quick Guard to stop Taunt, all you really do is break even for the turn. It's not a particularly efficient play.
Well,
when Salamence actually stays in, one suspects it has to be protecting here. Or risk the Thunder Wave, or even a potential hidden power ice coming from the Zapdos.
Oh, there's no protect coming out, and we see Thunder Wave go on to Crobat.
A very strange play because I believe it is the Lumberry on the Crobat.
We will let us see for. Yep, it is.
So I suppose Chelsea didn't know of the Lumberry.
Oh, but Crobat didn't go for a support move and went straight for a. Oh, Mance actually goes for the Tailwind here.
And Zapdos, I believe, will be going for the Thunderous as well. No, actually, Zapdos matches Salamance's Tailwind. So honest even here, and really first blood goes to Yoko, one would say.
Yeah, I mean, the damage, although now that she knows that the Crobat is Lumberry, she'll definitely be able to prepare for future matchups and not bring her Smeargle if she suspects the Crobat will lead.
Yes, I suppose watching Lumberry cure paralysis is not quite as devastating as watching something wake up after getting Dark Voided.
Yes. And, well, both of them match Tailwind, so do you suspect the Mance to switch out or protect this turn? It is risking being Thunder Waved.
I mean, the risk here is not so much the Thunder Wave here. The risk actually is the fact that Crobat can just Super Fang and double target with the Zapdos, and I don't think Mance is going to be taking a Thunderbolt out of Super Fang.
Yeah, I don't think the Thunderous is long for the world as well, taking one Super Fang already. I think another Super Fang and a Thunderbolt from Zapdos should be able to finish it off. So will Chelsea capitalize? Will she predict this and maybe go for a Mance attack on the Crobat?
That being said, Thunderous can kind of disrupt that because we haven't quite figured out what Thunderous speed is since he did go for a Prankster attack last turn.
And we do see the Super Fang land on the Salamence, and Salamence goes for the Hyper Voice here.
Questionable play, not going to do a lot of damage to either of Yoko's Pokemon.
Yes, indeed. And Thunderbolt from...
Thunderbolt will finish off Crobat, but in this situation, I believe Chelsea is going to be trading the Crobat, her Mance for the Crobat. Oh, actually Yoko goes for Thunderbolt on the Thunderous.
And takes the KO as well.
So Chelsea's Thunderous not holding the Citrus Berry, since we're not entirely sure of that, because Super Fang didn't actually bring it below half.
Yes, it didn't. So now both of them are down a piece. Yoko has a slight lead because Chelsea's Mance is at half HP. But you know, you kind of question, I guess, because you would really want to leave Crobat in as a partner, because aside from the Super Fang, if you can just deal with its partner effectively, it is a non-threat. But I guess on Chelsea's side of the field, her typing offensively doesn't suit taking down the Zapdos at this stage.
Alright, so Chelsea will bring in a Primal. Unfortunately for her though, she will be staring down Yoko's Rayquaza. I don't think Yoko carries a Water Bag on her Rayquaza, so Groudon is kind of safe for now, but I suppose there is a threat of Hidden Power Water on the Zapdos, which we are not entirely sure whether she carries.
Well, if the Mance carries Draco Meteor, it could be an easy KO on Yoko's Rayquaza.
But your Chelsea has revealed Tailwind, and the one move that Salamences typically drop for Tailwind is Draco Meteor.
So Yoko should feel pretty safe leaving her Rayquaza in, and it should do a lot of damage to either the Mance or the Groudon.
Still a rather interesting position for Chelsea to be in, or Yoko to be in rather. Because she's bringing a Rayquaza first as opposed to bringing a Kyogre first. I mean, she doesn't quite have...
Yeah.
For Yoko. Bringing a Rayquaza before her Kyogre, she doesn't quite threaten the same Water Spout with Airlock play as she would if she had brought in Kyogre first.
And we do see the Mance here go for the Protect.
Mance will Protect, and Rayquaza will match the Protect from Mance. So actually a good turn for Chelsea there, since she baited out the Protect from the Rayquaza.
And what will Groudon and Zapdos do? We will
find out quite shortly.
Well, I don't think much has changed on the field, so I suspect they
Thunderbolt into the Salamence Protect.
And the Groudon maybe went for attack on the Rayquaza. There's no indication of any change in HP. But interestingly enough, Yoko didn't Mega Evolve her Rayquaza.
This is kind of either indication that
maybe she has more at the back?
Not necessarily, because she only has one Pokemon yet unrevealed, and you would suspect it is the Kyogre. I believe she is staying in an airlock form because she does not want to remove the threat of the airlock water spout on the Groudon. And let's not forget that if she does Mega Evolve, her ability might not actually be entirely to her benefit if she does have Ice Attack to hit the opposing Salamence with.
I mean, at this point, the Salamence being at half HP, I think is enough to take out.
Even I don't think she wants to nerf Thunderbolt's damage on it, for one.
Well, regardless, the Rayquaza goes for the Mega Evolution here and triggers Delta Stream.
So we do see the double edge come out. It's probably going onto the Salamence, or onto the Rayquaza rather, and takes out a huge amount of damage.
The recoil not quite enough, and we do see Dragon Ascent.
Into the Groudon, one suspects. It will be going into the Groudon as expected, does not take it out. The Rayquaza not holding an offensive item, probably holding the Focus Sash.
And
as Rock Slide will come out and will be nerfed by the Delta Stream.
Yeah,
and Rayquaza hang on.
I think the defense drops are enough to take out the Rayquaza as it does, yeah.
With the Dragon Ascent, Rayquaza not able to hang on even with the Delta Stream.
Oh, but now that the Delta Stream has dissipated, that means Zapdos can easily pick up the KO on the Mance here.
Though again, with the amount of HP, I think even with Delta Stream up, Thunderbolt would have taken out the Salamence.
And both Tailwinds peter out.
So Tailwind not doing either player any good. So Chelsea has lost two of her stronger attackers.
And she brings in the Kyogre, and we see mashing Kyogres, and Groudon would not enjoy being in this rain.
Yoko revealing herself to be the faster Kyogre here. Which is going to be very crucial because Yoko is a very big fan of pressing Water Spout.
And at this point, Water Spout and the Thunderbolt from Zapdos.
Not to mention, even if there is a speed tie on both sides, Yoko has the luxury of going for a Protect and Tailwind play, which Chelsea does not have. To set the speed definitely in her favor.
Yeah, what is the HP of the Zapdos? Yeah, maybe we'll go down to an Ice Beam.
So I would expect her Zapdos to move before Chelsea's Kyogre. Though I do believe it will be a speed tie between the primals. Something which is probably a bigger risk for Chelsea really. Because her Precipice Blaze is not going to get rid of Kyogre. But Kyogre's any amount of water attacks, even a bubble at this point will take out Groudon. Never mind Water Spout. Even if Yoko loses speed tie and does get Precipice Bladed, I don't care how low your HP is, your Water Spout will still KO Groudon at this point.
And as you mentioned rightly earlier, Zapdos does have the option. But actually, Rock Slide.
Oh, Chelsea actually does fish for a flinch, but misses the Kyogre entirely.
But the Groudon moved.
Groudon did win the speed tie there. Zapdos removed the Citrus Berry, but she missed the target she needed, the Kyogre. She was fishing for a flinch, didn't even get the hit.
And Water Spout should take down the Groudon.
And Zapdos is free to get either a Thunderbolt or a Tailwind off. And that should really seal the game off for Yoko. As he does go for Thunderbolt into Kyogre.
No flinch
if
on the
Chelsea is
Zapdos.
going for a Water Spout, it's going to be greatly reduced now.
It goes for the Origin Pulse actually, and avoids the Kyogre again.
Yoko's Kyogre living a charmed life here. Still at full health, having avoided both of Chelsea's attacks.
Yeah, I mean, Chelsea was at a disadvantage there, but the Rock Slide miss and the Origin Pulse miss just...
And here, Yoko's faster Kyogre will just finish up the game with a full power Water Spout. Single target, more than enough to finish up.
Whew. Well, it was pretty close. Both of them came down to their last 2 months. Just that Chelsea's Groudon didn't really like the matchup against the Kyogre at the end.
Groudon likes to run max speed, not so much for the matchup with opposing Kyogre, more of a matchup with opposing Groudon. And here, even being faster, I mean, Chelsea went for the only play she actually had, to be honest, which was the Rock Slide flinch. And, well, some Groudon players tell me that that's kind of why they run Rock Slide. It's an emergency play against opposing Kyogre. I'm looking at you, Nelson. Unfortunately, she didn't even get a hit, let alone the flinch, and Yoko was able to close the game out. From a very strong position, to be perfectly honest. Even when she didn't want to risk the speed tie, which she did, she had the Tailwind option.
Yes, I mean, she didn't go for it, but it was there, I guess.
Yeah, she recognized that. She didn't really want to risk going for a Protect and trying to get the Tailwind off and Zapdos flinching.
Well, we're not going to waste any time, I believe, and we're going straight into the next match. And Chelsea actually chooses to bring Smeargle in this time.
I'm afraid that Chelsea has fallen into a kind of a common trap for less experienced players, which is when anything goes wrong in Game 1, they just default to the Smeargle mode. But having seen Lumberry on the Crobat, and it's a Crobat, it carries Taunt. Bringing the Smeargle is just a questionable play on so many levels. I'm afraid Chelsea is going to be punished very heavily for it.
I guess she does have, if she has Fake Out on Smeargle, it's not entirely wasted. She could fake out the Zapdos, stop a Tailwind, and the Mans could maybe...
But the Mans just cannot get anything off on the field right now. As we saw previously, Man's best attack at this point is Hyper Voice.
Or Double Edge. I mean, single
Because she
target...
carries 2 flying attacks. She can't
Oh,
damage
but
the
it actually
Zapdos
goes
at
for the
all.
Dark Void before the Crobat can act.
So it is the Scarf Smeargle, it will be Dark Void, and it will land on the Crobat, which doesn't matter, it is Lumberry.
It is
but
gonna...
will she get the Zapdos? Oh, she does get the Zapdos. So the question is, who did Yoko choose to Tailwind with?
And nope, she goes for the Taunt on the Smeargle, so no Tailwind yet. And Mans goes for the Tailwind here.
So it's hard to say how much Chelsea really gained out of this turn. Smeargle is taunted and locked into Dark Void, it's forced to switch out, unless he wants to struggle. And Mans got Tailwind out, but Mans is still in a position to deal somewhat inefficient damage to Yoko's 2 Pokemon right here.
I suppose a Hyper Voice and a Double Edge would be able to take out the Crobat. Although, Crobat should be able to fire off a Super Fang before it goes down. So,
but the thing is, at this point, Zapdos can wake up at any moment and can punish the switch quite easily.
But I think Chelsea has to preserve her Smeargle and try to get rid of the Crobat as fast as possible. I mean, if she can do that, she does have a measure of control against the primals that Yoko has.
Right, so Chelsea will go to the Groudon first instead of Kyogre. She does have Tailwind up, so the speed not entirely an issue here, unless Yoko does wake up and get her own Tailwind. Though you suspect Crobat is going for Tailwind now. Desolate End will trigger, so the weather will become harsh sunlight for the time being. As Zapdos will retreat, having taken 1 turn of sleep. And that is the Kyogre, not what Groudon wants to see.
Very, very bad switch for Chelsea. But conversely, a very good switch on Yoko's part.
Potentially still punishable though. I'm not entirely sure the odds of Chelsea going for double edge on that slot, but if she did, this battle would swing very much in her favor. As Groudon losing the weather doesn't really care that much offensively.
Oh, goes for the Hyper Voice. A pretty safe play, I would say.
But really not her best option.
And
as Crobat will match it with Tailwind. And Groudon will be staring down at a speed tie with the opposing Kyogre in the rain.
I don't think that's something that Chelsea wants to risk.
Oh, that being said, we do know Yoko runs a max speed Kyogre, and having taken that bit of chip, will not enjoy taking double edge right now.
From the Mans? Is the Mans faster than the Kyogre?
The Mans is faster than Kyogre definitely, since both have got their Tailwind, and Chelsea is yet to run out. I mean, even if Kyogre chooses to protect here, it's not going to stall out Chelsea's turns of Tailwind quite yet. And yes, I believe there is danger zone for Kyogre in terms of Salamance's double edge.
So Chelsea should try to take a very aggressive position here to get rid of the Kyogre. And maybe do a little chip on the Crobat, but it's
if she does have Moal here, that is about to save the Kyogre. But it is the Zapdos, still asleep, and double edge will be going into the Kyogre slot.
No protect
Chelsea
coming
hoping
out.
to get the KO, and will not pick it up. Kyogre hangs on, but will she win the speed tie? She does not win the speed tie. Skull goes into the Groudon and takes it out before it can move.
A very unfortunate turn for Chelsea here. She does have the option to bring in the Smeargle in though, but I don't think that will accomplish much.
Kyogre is just going to protect waste the last turn of Tailwind. Oh, but it is going to be Kyogre. So Chelsea attempting to take advantage of her last turn of Tailwind with heavier offense. And also getting a Pokemon with Protect on the field, so that she can protect on the next turn to stall out Yoko's on Tailwind.
So at this point, a Hyper Voice and an Ice Beam into the Zapdos seems a fairly straightforward play for Chelsea here.
Or even a Water attack into the Zapdos, it feels like it. So Kyogre will protect to stall out Chelsea's last turn of Tailwind. As Hyper Voice goes into the Kyogre, will be protecting and will do a little bit of shit damage to the Zapdos, but might not be enough to pick up the KO.
And Zapdos still fast asleep, and Origin Pulse does land this time. Hits the Zapdos.
Not quite as strong as Water Spout. Into the Zapdos. Does not pick up the KO as expected.
And even eats the Citrus Berry. Well, you can suspect at this point... Yeah, I believe Chelsea should be going for a double protect play here to stall out the Tailwind on Yoko's side.
But she does run the risk of Zapdos waking up and potentially revealing a roost, which will set her back considerably at this point.
Well, I'm not sure she wants to risk eating any attacks from Yoko at this point.
And was that only a single protect that we just saw?
Yes.
As Yoko will actually, Chelsea actually goes for the Origin Pulse as well. Into the Kyogre, will pick up the KO and the Zapdos as well. So Yoko going all in on the Salamence there and looking into the protect. I'm not entirely sure what she was hoping to get out of that turn.
Chelsea did recognize a chance to counter-attack there. I think she suspected that Yoko thinks that she would double protect, and it doesn't matter what she targets. So she tried to use that to create an opening.
I mean, one suspects that Yoko did go for the Thunderbolt from her Zapdos onto the Kyogre,
But
but
it was
took
still
the third
asleep.
turn of sleep.
Well, Yoko is down to her last two now, I believe, while Chelsea still has a Smeargle at the back.
And Rayquaza being focus sashed and not holding a life orb means his Dragon Ascent power just isn't quite enough at this point, though of course Super Fang helps. But it also means that the problem with having a pair of Rayquaza and Crobat is that you have no split potential. You have to double your target into Pokemon in order to get KOs.
And I believe
Chelsea
if-
can take full advantage of that.
Yes, I believe if Chelsea just focuses down the Rayquaza, she should be able to close the game out relatively comfortably.
Right, Rayquaza will Mega Evolve. Here not so much to take, not so much of a Delta Stream, but to take away the power of the water attacks, one suspects. Crobat will be moving first, being the fastest thing on the field.
Oh,
but
but
Kyogre
Kyogre-
chooses to protect. This could be a very risky play.
Indeed. And
As Crobat will Super Fang into the
into the
Kyogre,
Kyogre.
and Salamence will get his own Tailwind up again. Fantastic turn for Chelsea here.
Did the Rayquaza go for the double into the Kyogre? Yes, it did. As you
There
mentioned.
we see the problem with Rayquaza as an attacking force. You don't have the same spread potential as the Primals. And rather uncharacteristically, Yoko walking right into a protect with a double target, rather obvious protect for that matter.
Well, Chelsea at this point does have the spread option from the Hyper Voice to break the sash of the Rayquaza. And Ice Beam, with the Delta Stream though, I think Rayquaza should be able to survive, not having any defense drops just quite yet. But
Rayquaza will
Rayquaza,
protect.
I think
And
Crobat
will
wants
be
to match
hoping
the
hang on
Tailwind.
to get Tailwind up as well. But Chelsea will go for the double edge into Crobat, which should pick up the KO at this point.
Yep.
Which does. So Chelsea making the right plays to pull her back out of this situation, and Yoko will be left with Rayquaza against the wall.
Yep.
And let's not forget, there are 2 more turns of Tailwind.
Yes.
A double edge plus Ice Beam will clear this game and bring us to a game 3.
Not to mention Chelsea does have Smeargle at the back as a fail-safe option.
Spherical not the best option here. Holding the scarf,
I guess
does
it
not really
could,
want to be eating extreme speeds.
I guess it could transform, but I mean, if it's taking an extreme speed, it means its partner is free to fire off an attack, and Chelsea can leverage her advantage in numbers over
Yeah,
here.
but at this
to close
point
the
it
game.
doesn't really matter. Yoko hoping to fish for a crit on the extreme speed, which even if she got it, a crit actually would have gotten her the kill there. Hyper Voice to break the sash, single target Hyper Voice for that matter, and Ice Beam will finish off Rayquaza. Going to a game 3. And Yoko really not quite getting the adjustment she needed. Walking right into a double protect. And I think Yoko needs to be less obsessed with matching Tailwinds, which is what she's been doing she's been trying to catch up to Chelsea all the way, and I don't think that's the right approach for her.
But there we see the weakness of Yoko's usage of the Crobat. As you rightly mentioned, you're forced to pretty much double into a single target. But I mean, the risk and reward is pretty high. If you do manage to get that target down, it's a very easy KO. Yeah.
I mean, Chelsea should be taking heart from this win especially because let's not forget, Pagona went down without even doing anything.
And she arguably did the very poor matchup with the Smeargle versus the Lam Crobat lead. But she still managed to pull out.
Yeah, it's actually, I really commend Chelsea for pulling back that situation, to be perfectly honest. The Crobat, scarf Crobat into a Lumberry and the Tailwind on turn 1, it's a disastrous turn.
And yeah, I mean, does she want to risk that again in the last game?
I think that's kind of the problem here. It kind of looked good for her. Then the safety of the Scarf Dark Void is really a safety blanket sometimes.
But on the other hand, what can she do to match that same lead? I mean, Yoko hasn't switched leads in the
If
first
Yoko
two games
insists
as well.
on playing a support lead, Chelsea needs to punish it with a Groudon and lay on the offense immediately.
I mean, a Rock Slide right off the bat should do a significant amount of damage to the 2 flying types there. You are correct, yes.
And let's not forget, the temptation now for Yoko is to adjust and maybe bring in the Mawile. So the Mega Rayquaza is not just not doing enough work for her. And she might, I think this is where Yoko kind of tries to play with the early game Kyogre, trying to get off a spout as soon as possible.
Well, in this case then, Chelsea should bring the Scarf Smeargle then in this kind of matchup.
Yeah, this is why this is kind of this team review is going to be a big challenge for both players. Both players trying to figure out what the opponent's going to plan for game 3.
I think
But now the pressure is on Yoko to adjust.
Yes, I think it also comes down to style. Do each players know what they... Oh, and yep, Groudon does make an appearance here right off the bat on Chelsea's side. But we do see a Kyogre and a Crobat.
Oh, this speed tie is not something either player wants to win. Nobody wants to win the speed tie. So which player gets the unlucky one? Oh, it's going to be
Chelsea.
Groudon. Chelsea wins the speed tie. The one speed tie she did not want to win.
Very unfortunate now, Groudon at risk of being KO'd again without doing anything.
So Chelsea will get the weather up, unfortunately, so will Yoko, and Yoko will go second here. Despite SG, at this point, no, it is a speed tie between both primals, and this is not a speed tie either player wants to win.
Indeed. And I mean, Yoko does have advantage here. Groudon is in a very disadvantageous position, so I mean, it's very easy for her to just focus down the Salamence, especially since she has the Crobat Super Fang support.
Yeah, especially since the Mance here, the temptation is to go for the Tailwind. And for Groudon to switch out, because Groudon at this point is a sitting duck for the score.
What does she want to switch in though?
I think the only thing that can comfortably take attacks is really her own Kyogre. Unless she wants to be in a position to sack her Smeargle.
Yep, definitely taking their time. Now, will Chelsea be able to win the speed tie if her Groudon chooses to stay in now is the question.
Yoko's just thinking about whether she wants to protect with Kyogre or go for a protect Tailwind play.
Oh, but there are no switches. Chelsea decides she wants to risk the speed tie or maybe protect
Chelsea
her Groudon.
could potentially go all in on the Kyogre, but if she walks into a protect Tailwind, that will be a disaster. And it will be the Tailwind, so no protects coming from Kyogre. I think Mance will be going for a double edge into the Kyogre slot. Oh, but she goes for the Tailwind. Chelsea trying to win the speed tie again.
And will she be rewarded in this case?
Oh, yes, she does. The Rock Slide. Will land the Rock Slide on Kyogre. She's fishing for the flinch here. Will she get it? No, but goes for the Ice Beam instead. So Yoko, predicting the protect or the switch out from the Groudon, chooses to pick up the Salamence. And well, Chelsea's main source of damage on Yoko's Kyogre is gone now.
Yes. Although now if she does bring in the Smeargle, oh, she chooses to bring in her own Kyogre.
And Yoko will be forced to win. Chelsea is going to be forced to win another speed tie.
Yes. And once again, Yoko does have that option of just doubling into the Kyogre. With the Super Fang being able to whittle down Chelsea's Kyogre down to half health, it should not be too difficult for Yoko to get a KO.
Especially since Chelsea's game plan at this point really seems to be Rock Slide and hope for a flinch. And it's not even a 100% accurate plan to begin with.
Yeah, and she has to win the speed tie. She has to get, she has to hold
both Rock Slides.
Yep, and she chooses to protect this turn.
Will you see a protect
Does
from
Yoko
Kyogre
punish?
as well? Oh, we are going to see a Super Fang into the... Oh, it's going to miss the Kyogre. And as Score goes into the Groudon. And Origin Pulse will land on both Pokemon, will bring down Crobat, and do a bit of chip to Kyogre.
So now the option for Yoko's Super Fang play, not quite there. Yeah.
And well, Super Fang let her down there, missing the Kyogre entirely. 90% accuracy. Not quite Origin Pulse or Precipice Blades, but still not ideal either.
Well, I mean, Yoko still does have advantage. The Groudon does not enjoy being in this rain. The threat of being KO'd is even greater now since he has burned through his Protect. And Zapdos comes onto the field to threaten out Chelsea's Kyogre.
Another Rock Slide weak Pokemon though.
Yeah.
So the temptation for Chelsea is still the best Rock Slide.
Does she feel she can win the speed tie though? And I mean, a Scout at this point will just finish off a Groudon without doing anything.
If she doesn't, she really needs to switch Groudon out here.
Oh, and Kyogre protects actually.
I'm not sure what Chelsea has in the back because she really seems to be insistent on protecting it.
Yep, and Scout will take out the Groudon for Chelsea, and she'll be forced to her last two Pokemon.
Chelsea really, for some reason, seems to be not wanting to risk what's at the back, and I'm not entirely sure what is so important to Chelsea that she doesn't want to risk it. It can't be Kangaskhan because, and it's going to be Smeargle. Chelsea's going to be banking it all on the Scarf Smeargle.
Yeah, and the question now is, since she can't switch out, what move does she want to lock herself into? I mean, now that Crobat is gone, it's pretty safe to just press Dark Void.
We know it's going to be Dark Void. Because the threat of Rayquaza at the back, Smeargle really has nothing other to do other than press Dark Void.
Well, so the question is, how does Yoko adjust to this measure of control that Chelsea has chosen to bring as a last resort?
At this point, Yoko just has to hope for either a miss or for her to wake up quickly. That's all. Because when it's all said and done, it may be a Scarf Smeargle getting Dark Void off, but Kyogre is still the only attacking threat on Chelsea's side of the field.
And Dark Void does land on at least one Pokemon here.
Really hoping to hit the Zapdos.
It does get the Zapdos.
So no Tailwind coming up for Yoko this turn. As Kyogre will go to sleep as well, and both Pokemon will take their turns of sleep.
And Chelsea should perhaps go for Origin Pulse here?
Yes, definitely. Goes for the Origin Pulse and will miss the Kyogre once again.
Could be crucial. I mean, every bit of damage that misses could be damage that she could have used to KO.
I'm not entirely sure about that because at the end of the day, Chelsea wants to be going for the Thunder on Kyogre. Well, but that's true, and this is still not Thunder's KO range.
And it gets a speed boost. but drops its accuracy, not something it wants to. I mean, it already has the Scarf to boost its speed. You perhaps want the accuracy?
Well, at least Smeagol now removes the threat of Tailwind with its speed, but the accuracy drop, not going to be good, not going to be fun when either of Yoko's Pokemon wake up or Rayquaza comes in.
Indeed, and since Yoko does have a chance, Yoko's Pokemon does have a chance of waking up since they are both burned the first turn of sleep.
At this point, I think Chelsea wants to be firing off the Ice Beam to finish off Zapdos.
Oh, and Kyogre wakes up, getting a 1-turn sleep on Yoko's side, and will be able to pick up the KO on the Smeagol, so the measure of control on Chelsea's side is gone.
Zapdos will take a second turn of sleep, however. Are we going to see another Origin Pulse? There will be another Origin Pulse. It will land on the Kyogre, but I don't think it's enough to KO Zapdos.
Yeah, not quite. Not quite. And yeah, Chelsea seems to be in a very dire situation here.
Let's not forget, there is still a full health Rayquaza waiting at the back, yet to Mega Evolve.
I mean, it could be anything, but you are right. Yoko does have the numbers advantage and is able to just whittle down.
She will get the burn,
yeah, she does get the burn, yes.
And at this point, this game should be over. Even with Zapdos taking a third turn of sleep. Origin Pulse is going to miss someone. He is going to miss the Kyogre. Finish off the Zapdos, but Rayquaza will come in to finish the job. Again, questionable endgame plan for Chelsea there. Relying solely on the Scarf Smeagol, which really should have been sacked.
Yes.
Honestly.
I mean, I don't know. I think her winning the speed tie at the start with her Groudon kind of threw her off balance. And
no,
I mean,
not necessarily. Don't forget, if she had if she had lost the speed tie on turn 1, then Yoko was just going to do I'm going to switch in Rayquaza, Airlock, and Water Spout anyway.
That is
so
true.
winning the speed tie is not as valuable as you think in a matchup like this. But sacrificing a Groudon without doing anything other than Rock Slide was definitely questionable, especially since what she was preserving was a Smeagol.
I mean, what else could she have preserved? Maybe it was a Thundurus, but Thundurus doesn't...
Thundurus would make more sense, I would think. Can hit the Kyogre super effective, doesn't feel the Zapdos all that much, and can Thunder Wave the Rayquaza to make the Kyogre's life easier. So sacrificing your Groudon in order to preserve your Thundurus makes a bit more sense, but sacrificing it for Smeagol and relying entirely on the speed type, I don't agree with those plays at all.
Props to Yoko though, she did reserve her Rayquaza at the very end. Just in case Chelsea decided to switch out her Groudon, she does at least have the option to change the weather.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Dragon Sand at this point, after the burn damage, will be enough to pick off Kyogre.
And Yoko will move on to the semi-finals, taking down Chelsea in a quite back and forth round here.
Right, so Yoko will emerge triumphant here, taking it 2-1 over Chelsea, making the right adjustments, and making both players adjusted in game 3 with their leads, especially both leading with the primals, Chelsea winning the dubious honor of the speed tie. But as pointed out, with the Rayquaza at the back, didn't really matter all that much. The real speed tie was who got to attack first, and when it mattered, Yoko got the score into the Groudon before he could Rock Slide again.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, Yoko just needed to land one attack to be able to tip the scales in her favor, whereas Chelsea had to rely on multiple attacks, multiple flinches
at that point, yes.
So I'm not sure that it was wise for Chelsea to try to match Yoko's aggression head on. Maybe if she had brought in a Thundurus for measure of control instead of Crobat, instead of Smeagol.
The Groudon wasn't a terrible decision to lead with, definitely, since as we pointed out, Yoko had started support for 2 games in a row, and Groudon would punish the support very heavily. Yoko did adjust, so Chelsea's adjustment ended up to no avail, but as pointed out, Smeagol at the back, trying to win the game with Scarf Dark Void, and relying on 2 3-turn sleeps, just not a reliable scenario at all, especially since the one Pokemon that Chelsea needed, especially since the one Pokemon that would take out Smeagol in a single hit, use of the Kyogre, was not what Chelsea was prioritizing. Chelsea, even after getting the Dark Void there, shouldn't have been going for Origin Pulses. She should have been trying to thunder down the Kyogre. Because even if Zapdos woke up and got Tailwind up, at least Smeagol is still alive, and Smeagol got speed boost.
Yes.
So Smeagol was still going to be the fastest thing on the field.
I mean, the accuracy drop kind of put a dam into it, but with enough booty boost, should be able to leverage. But yeah, as you mentioned, I think when it came down to game 3, what mattered was Chelsea couldn't bring down the Kyogre. The reason why she was able to take game 2 a bit decisively was she got chip damage on the Kyogre and was able to finish off with a Mance Double Edge. But in the third game, Mance went down without touching the Kyogre even.
The trade wasn't a terrible trade there. Mance could get Tailwind up, which was an advantage in Chelsea's favour. But as pointed out, when the Dark Void went off, Chelsea had to prioritize what she wanted to damage, and she chose the wrong target. She chose for Origin Pulse or Spread damage when the priority should have been the Kyogre. Because at any moment the Kyogre was going to wake up and KO the Smeagol, and she didn't want to be down to her last Pokemon. Whereas if Zapdos had woken up, well, Zapdos would got a Tailwind, but she had already gotten a speed gain. And Zapdos cannot KO Smeagol in a single hit.
I guess in her mind, maybe she felt that Zapdos was able to take down the Smeargle in a single hit, so it didn't matter, and she was trying to be a bit greedy and get both KOs.
Yes, I think that is the problem. Is the attraction of the dual targets in Origin Pulse in the rain was what it's more damage overall, and that's what Chelsea wanted. She got a bit too greedy on the damage, and really was hoping for a 3-turn sleep on Tauga at the end of the day.
Well, either way, Yoko is moving on to the semi-finals here, but Chelsea did quite well in the Swiss rounds with this team, I believe. Yes, I think beating Yujie.
Yeah, Chelsea did well, finishing 5-1 in Swiss, and let's not forget it was the best of 3, so no flick wins there. And she won't move, and Yoko, but as well, she's fallen at this hurdle, fallen to Yoko, a more experienced top card player, a more experienced master competitor, who will move on to face the winner of Nelson Lim against Pham An. A match will be played shortly. Nelson, of course, going unbeaten in Swiss after bubbling out of championship points in Malaysia last week. So sealing his Worlds invite, and all of a sudden, from panicking about not being able to qualify to Worlds, suddenly Nelson is dreaming big once again.
Talking about World invite.
Talking about whether the paid invite hotel room is twin bed or not.
Yeah, but he does have a hurdle to overcome as well. It's been going along a while in our tournaments now. What is known as the Swiss curse. The person that goes unbeaten in the Swiss typically does not fare very well in the top card.
Definitely, yeah. And up against Pham An in particular, who has the ultimate wild card in his own Smeargle.
Yes, so we have to see if Nelson will be able to beat Pham An in the quarterfinals later on.
It should be pointed out though, actually no, both players didn't play in Swiss. So both players still somewhat unfamiliar with each other's teams as of right now. But they've had one night, and well, Singapore is a very chatty community, shall we say.
Yes.
At this point, everyone knows each other's teams.
So it'll just come down to a matter of the plays, who can predict who, and whether it comes down to whether each player can read each other's style and try to predict what they'll lead with. Especially
and
in the
Pham An
first
is
game.
notoriously very hard to predict. Nelson, on the other hand, can be very predictable.
Yeah, but on the flip side, Pham An being a bit unpredictable could be to his detriment as well, because he has been known to lead with unfavorable leads, as we have chastised him yesterday for not leading with the Xerneas when it was a very
Whereas
clear victory.
Nelson will go for the safest possible lead.
Yes, I mean, if Xern Smear works for him and wins him the game, he will just lead it 3 games straight.
Though no Smeargle for Nelson's team today though, so we'll see how he can go without that one crush play to carry him. Both players still not quite ready. Pham An is still sitting in the audience, fiddling with his phones next to Nelson.
Still dreaming big about the world's paid invite.
So we'll be taking a break until the next top 8 match is ready.